Yevgeny Rozman was prosecuted 3 times under the article on the so-called discrediting of the Russian army for anti-war statements. The criminal case was opened in August last year for a YouTube video. There, according to the prosecution, Rozman discredited the Russian army by calling the war against Ukraine a war.
They are judging him for the so-called discrediting of the army. This is well-known law on fakes, while the plot of his criminal case is that he was asked some question on the air, and it means he answered somehow doesn't right from the point of view of Russian law.
On May 17th, the third hearing of the Rozman case took place. His lawyer asked to add to the case the characteristics that Rozman was given by famous people, among them singer Alla Pugacheva.
You have to make a difficult decision, not to be afraid to justify Yevgeny Rozman and leave him free. Today clearly shows what kind of people need to be supported in order not to turn into a grey dumb human mess, losing patriotic guidelines. The future of our motherland lies with such people as Rozman, who live by the interests of citizens not only of their region, but also by the interests of citizens of the whole country. Alla Pugacheva, Russian singer, in an appeal to the court.
The judge returned the document to Rozman's lawyer and said that Pugacheva's appeal was non-procedural and was not being examined. At the court hearing, Rozman made his last speech and thanked writers, musicians and scientists for their support.
I've lived a good life and I don't regret anything, and I'm not afraid of anything. No one can take away my right to say what I think. Thank you.
The court imposed a fine of 260,000 rubles on Yevgeny Rozman. The politician suggested that the prosecutor's office requested a fine and not imprisonment, because they understand that he is not guilty of anything.
All sorts of things happen, all sorts of miracles happen, but of course, what they asked for, it says that everyone understands that I'm not to blame for anything and they can do anything.
Also, it became known that in 5 regions of the Federation, searches are being carried out at those whom the authorities suspect of having links with former State Duma deputy Ilya Ponomaryov. The politician lives in Ukraine and openly advocates the overthrow of the Putin regime. The security forces broke down the door in the apartment of Mikhail Lobanov, an associate professor at Moscow State University. At the same time, Lobanov himself and Ponomaryov claimed that they did not even know each other.
In fact, he is not connected with me in any way. The investigators say that he is a witness in my case. Well, that's what he can testify incomprehensibly to anyone, neither to him nor to me, in fact. He talked about it publicly, I talk about it publicly, we don't know each other. We never talked in our lives, we never saw each other, we don't have any things in common.
According to Ponomaryov, the purpose of all these searches is to intimidate people who may go to the next opposition Congress of People's Deputies in June.
The Congress of People's Deputies is a shadow parliament which should become a full-fledged Russian parliament legislative power during the transition period. Now it is preparing the entire legal framework for this very transition period. The key laws that are necessary in order to establish peace go from the state of dictatorship to the stage of democracy. Therefore, the Congress is, of course, a direct challenge to the current Russian government. It consists of deputies who were real deputies.
Searches also took place at the homes of municipal politicians Galina Felchenko and Nodari Hananashvili, editor-in-chief of the St. Petersburg edition of Lagoda Alexander Kalinin, and St. Petersburg politician Sergei Gulyaev. They are all called associates of Ilya Ponomaryov and participants in the Congress of People's Deputies. Reported by Roman Smoler, Yulia Bil, UATV News.